So it depends on the topic. If it's a Jewish Israeli Hamas Palestinian, I'm probably not going to want to do it because I don't have a lot to say about that.
You could call that intelligent of you, Nye.
Israel has a right to defend itself.
Got a little common sense inside of you.
So on the same time, I've said
surprising.
And I've had Jews check me.
Now that we've recorded you being a racist.
Not a genocide. That I'm like, well, what
she
is
hates the biracial
genocide? And I don't want
complainers.
About what is a
hates
genocide.
her biracial countrymen.
Learn.
You're a biracial woman. Don't cross this one.
The Palestinians starving. And I'm like, well, seemingly, yeah. According to the UN, they are. But I got pushed back on that. So, yeah, I feel like the best position for me to take in these conversations is just to kind of be the spook who sat by the door and listen and learn.
Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said. There's people starving in the USA as of today.
Exactly.
There's people starving in Canada. There's people starving all over the world.
Really?
That's what people are, they're failing. But they want you to only say that there's only starving in one specific place. And then they want to open up a room. Well, Nye said,
exactly.
And that's where they black. It's both.
Dude, it's insane that the league,
may end up in somebody up in some corporate level making a decision that ends up, killing somebody else. What about them? Like, where does all of that end is the point. Like, the assassination of this guy is wrong, and also what the healthcare companies are doing are egregious in killing the American people. But that's the system that America has and set up, that our representatives have voted on and agreed to and have bought into. And all of us have as well, because we don't have, if we want to change it, the courage to elect people who want to change this system. So are all the representatives then responsible? So where does that end in all of this?
Oh, there's a lot of responsibility. Now, I wonder here, if shooting the CEO who puts the pace of the company, I wonder if that's a bit of a deterrent for other CEOs to have a foster a climate of saying, okay, yes, we are going to deny these people. Maybe they will think, this could really fuck up someone's family and they might come after me. Maybe I should look at this claim and maybe not screw them over.
I have heard the argument. They should make
Marshall, take a few minutes if you want. Go ahead.
I've heard the argument.
I was just going to say, you're putting a CEO doing their job. One of their key motivations should be, I might get assassinated if I make the wrong call in somebody's eyes. In what universe is making that fear-based decision okay? And like Scotty asked, where does that end? You acknowledge there's a lot of responsibility.
They might be held accountable for predatory behavior on someone who is a policyholder who has paid into their policy their whole life, but yet still does not receive the care that can save their life, and so they die.
Predatory behavior in our system receives a prison sentence, not an assassination. What's at core here is, again, I'm with Steve. I don't want to exactly say you're excusing it, but it kind of sounds like what you're saying is, well, if they didn't deny so many claims, maybe people wouldn't be getting capped in the back. And I'm sorry, murder in all circumstances is wrong.
Hey, Meg, can I jump in here for a second?
Executives who make those decisions in prison would be absolutely fantastic, and I support that 100% over
Meg. So what I wanted to say is that the idea that someone who sits at a CEO level is actually making the decisions on whether to pay or deny a claim is absurd. It's just absurd. What is a problem is that we live in a society where we never want to talk about mental health because mental health is nothing that people want to talk about or address. And we have many individuals in our society that are teeter-tottering between a good day and a bad day. And when you see these incidents, to me, it should be like a clarion call that we need to start working to identify individuals in our collective society who might be capable of doing these things. Because the truth is, the average person walking down the street, whether or not their surgery got approved or denied, is not going to grab a gun and go shoot someone. That's just the truth of it. The average person is not running down into the New York City subway stabbing people because the train's late. But we have outliers in our society, and I think we as a society, we just need to do better to one, talk about mental health, because there are a lot of people are having a lot of problems, and we turn our backs on them as a society.
And Meg, I want to hear from you. Meg, I want to hear from you, but if you could just wait a few minutes, can you go on mute? Because it's something really important I have to do. Very important. It's so important. I've got to do it right now.
Hope and the Stars, and Michael Jackson had an issue with him, and he goes out in public and films himself antagonizing folks to get them riled up, and then he accuses them of being anti-Semitic, and I'm like, I don't know why members of the Jewish community
He's a shit disturber, and that's why I don't even like to talk about him, because I don't want to make it relevant. He's a fucking. He is, in my opinion.
I don't hate him as much as other people do.
Advisor.
What's that? Resistance?
He used to be Michael Jackson's spiritual advisor.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
He was a professor at Oxford. He was a rabbi at Oxford for about 12 years. I've known the guy for like 30 years. He's a real heavy narcissist. He like screams at his family when he's trying to film and they speak, or if like some 3-year-old's in the background talking, he'll repeat himself 25 times to warn them that he's filming. He's a really, really strange character. He's going after Lizzie Savetsky because he claims that he was almost murdered at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami.
That's right.
Yes.
He was threatened there. The guy did threaten him. He said, but the guy said, I'm going to fuck your shit up, is all he said. I'll fuck your shit up. So then he like sensationalized the whole thing by saying, you know, and because I do security, so he contacted me for security, and I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm too busy, because I would never attach my name to his. But he was like, I was almost murdered. I said, okay, so send me, you know, whatever you have, and I'll look at it, and, you know, I'll let you know when I can get there. And he sent it to me, and I said, like, is this the whole thing? He said, yeah, that's everything. That's the whole proof right there. I said, but the guy, you know, obviously he was being aggressive with you. He was way too close to you, and, you know, proximity wise, but all he said was, I'm going to fuck your shit up. You know, he didn't say, I'm going to murder you. You try to stab you in the eye. Like he didn't even threaten that he's going to kill you. I'm going to fuck your shit up. Doesn't mean I'm going to kill you. And so Lizzie, he started this whole like lawsuit against the Fontainebleau Hotel, who the owners are Jewish billionaires.
Rabbi Botea?
Shmuley, yeah.
Right.
And so then I guess the owners of the Fontainebleau or Lizzie, they probably have a relationship or whatever. And they asked her to come and like, you know, try and help them with some better PR, because Shmuley was being really loud about it. Like, Jews shouldn't go to the Fontainebleau. You're not safe there, and blah, blah, blah. So Lizzie flew out, and she went to the pool, and she started interviewing people. And she's like, are you Jewish? They're like, yeah. Do you feel safe here? Yes, I do. Have you ever felt, you know, in danger here? No, I haven't. So then, you know, he started going after her really hard. And then he took one of Lizzie's posts where she said, you know, all she said was, something about Rabbi Kahana, like that Rabbi Kahana said one thing that she agreed with. You know, it's like, okay, you don't have to agree with a million things a person says. If you agree with one thing, it doesn't mean you're like a supporter. It just means you agree with one thing he said. So then he took that as an opportunity to go after her, saying that she's a Kahanist, that she's this, she's that. Meanwhile, I have videos of him with me at a rally that was basically the Jewish Defense League, because I used to do security in the Jewish Defense League. But he used to attend rallies with us, and so I messaged him, and I'm like, listen, it might be a good idea to shut the fuck up, because I'm about to send her these videos. And he's like, okay, I understand. And he hasn't said a word about her since. But the guy's just like a mega narcissist, crazy maniac. He does more. If you look at any of his posts, look at the comments.
Yeah,
there's not one person that supports him. Every single
I like him more than you do. I just feel like I've heard you say a lot, and now I want to interrupt and just say, I actually like Shmuley Boteach. He's not perfect. I don't stand by everything he does, but I do think he's a righteous man. And yeah, he may have made some mistakes. His heart's in the right place. He's done a lot of good stuff, and that's that. Unless you say more about him right now.
I respect that. That's your right.
So then let's move on. If we have nothing nice to say, let's move on. We've said enough.
Well,
okay.
Listen.
He's done a lot of good things.
Between you and I is, I fucking know him and you don't. That's a difference.
Well, there's a lot of differences between
you look
us.
At posts. I look at the person. So if you want to talk, no issue. I respect it. But talk.
If you want to keep talking shit about him, I'm going to ask you to stop. Okay, you said a lot. You said a lot.
I don't care what you ask.
Hey, Randy.
You said a lot. You're repeating yourself, and you haven't added anything new. I'm not going to start attacking you yet, but you've said a lot.
You can't attack me.
Hey, Randy.
Yes.
You're not going to like this, but I agree with him. I don't think he's a good look for us. I think he's not a good look for rabbis. I think he could get his message across in a different way. And I just think it does us a disservice to be that aggressive in people's faces. I don't know him. I'm just observing his posts and his videos and stuff, and that's my take. I'll leave it at that.
Right. Guess what? He's stressed out like a lot of other people. October 7th in the last few years has stressed out a lot of people, including him. I think he's only human. I have no beef with him at all.
Okay.
Aleph, what's up, bro?
Who are we talking about?
Rabbi Shmuley.
Oh, he's sorry, I won't say that. He's a disgusting character. Sorry, and he's always been like that. I just think he has done so much damage and drawn so much attention to himself because he's a narcissist and he loves the attention. Also, the whole story with the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami, it was really disgusting what he did, especially with Lizzie Savetsky. It was absolutely vile. And he's not done himself any favors whatsoever. And also, I shook the guy's hand about 4 years ago at an event, and he shook my hand like a wet fish. And my late father, always told me, when anyone shakes your hand like that, never trust them.
Absolutely.
Like a limp handshake?
Yeah, an extremely limp handshake.
Kiss the Navy goodbye.
And he was also busy chasing all the celebrities around the room as well.
Listen, he walks his talk, as you know. He has multiple children in the IDF. He's not perfect.
But listen, Randy, there's nothing wrong with calling him out. It's like saying that we shouldn't call out Buttercup.
No, it's a lot different. All right, I said what I said. He's not an enemy. He's just somebody, he's not an enemy of the Jewish people.
Yeah, but
Of course he's not. Of course he's not.
The issue is he makes us look bad. I don't think he's a net positive for the Jewish people.
Yeah, he doesn't help. He doesn't help. Yeah. He actually hinders more than help.
When you're in Vienna and you're sitting in a crowd and you're inciting people so that you can get a video out of it, that's not helping the cause. That's got nothing to do with helping the cause. You want to help the cause, no issue, help it. If someone accosts you and you want to video it, I understand. But don't incite it so that you can get it on video. Oh, he touched me. Where's the police? Let's get him arrested. That's what he does. And that's a fact. That's not my word. That's a fact.
So this is what he did in the Fontainebleau Hotel as well. There was a whole story behind the story that he posted as well, and it wasn't good.
Right, exactly.
Wait, I can't tell who was that who was just speaking who said don't incite, because two people's minds.
That's Jewish resistance, and
okay, got it. Okay, yeah. I think I gave a thumbs up.
You did. It's okay, but okay. Yaakov will take it.
I did say something. I thought maybe it was a delayed reaction because I said something very similar to Olive.
I love you guys, man. It's funny.
We're funny people.
Yeah, funny. It's okay. It's okay, but yeah.
Rise from the dark humor because things have been dark.
I want to enter primatology class in schools, and I want to be a teacher of that class at a school. Or just write curriculum. I don't need to teach.
Baby, did you see that the fighter jets were scrambled over Canada on Monday from 3 flights coming in from Germany, landing in Calgary with bomb threats? NORAD scrambled a bunch of fighter jets.
No, I just sent you something though. Can you look at that on WhatsApp? Let me know if you know that first.
Canada's CF-18s are very interesting. Jewish.
Yeah, for sure they are.
You know what's interesting? In the bottom, they have a painting of the canopy. So it looks, you can't tell, like, if you're looking at the bottom of a top in a dogfight. Not that they dogfight much.
Down. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very interesting.
Well, the shame is that there aren't that many in Canada.
No, it's like 18 or something like that.
There's like 4 of them.
Yeah, no, I think there's a little bit more.
There's 70.
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah.
That was 18.
Well, that's why Canada relies so heavily on the U.S. for protection.
Good to have a big brother.
It's very good to have a big brother. They should treat him better, if you ask my opinion.
Yeah.
Damn, I just got a post from NBC. Disney has pulled Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely after the host's comments about Charlie Kirk. Now I gotta go see what he said about Charlie Kirk. This is crazy.
Yeah, what did he say?
I'm about to go Google it right now to find out.
Let's see what he said.
Mexicans.
Who?
Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, during his opening monologue for Monday Night's show, had suggested that Tyler Robinson, the man accused of fatally shooting Kimmel last week in Utah, was aligned with President Donald Trump's MAGA, Make America Great Again. Here's the quote. The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. He had it. Wow.
Well, looks like a lot of people are having their fuck around and find out moment in wake of Charlie Kirk's death.
Well, they think free speech exists in the workplace, which it doesn't.
Yeah, right?
Yes, my baby.
How many people are on that list? There's like 20,000.
What could
You got the list of people who said things about Charlie Kirk. Or defended what happened. I think it was at 20,000 a few days ago.
Wait, there's a list? Is somebody keeping a tally of folks who are saying disparaging things about Charlie?
Yeah, it's a public list. It's the longest list of its kind.
Wow. Yep, Normal. I just saw your comment. I went to Google it. Judges ordered him to Syria. Man, these people are insane. Everybody's having that fuck around and find out moment. Oh well. See you later. See you later, Mom.
Did anyone see that Jimmy Kimmel's show was canceled because of some disparaging remarks he apparently made about Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, we were just talking about that while you were on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Good timing.
I just saw that. That's wild. Yeah, good for them for doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally, Dad used to say every decision has a consequence.
Absolutely. Shouldn't disparage people, especially those that are not here anymore. Well, specifically those that are not here anymore.
Well, to be honest, he was disparaging Trump and his allies. He wasn't disparaging Kirk. I read of his quote. Here, he said. The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. So, he was really trying to get political points from it, not disparaging the guy who was shot.
Yeah, true.
That's my read of it.
Yeah, I see that for sure.
I'm posting in case anybody wants to see him actually say it. I just posted a short clip from Twitter of Jimmy's remarks.
Thanks, Nye.
The FCC chair said it was truly sick, and it said they have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with an obligation to operate in the public interest. Ouch. That carried a lot of weight with ABC. Head of the FCC, he was really on their case. This is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney. We can do this easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to take action on Kimmel, or there is going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Ouch.
Thank you, George.
Little Niggin. No pics.
No problem at all.
Daniel, are you still in this room?
Sir, I wish it wasn't so. Jewish, El Normo, Yaakov, I have to leave and you guys are on the phone. Yaakov, do you want to hold up the fort?
Did BB leave already?
Yep.
Yeah. Gotta get Harry up here.
Is Harry there? Oh, okay. Why do you want Harry up there?
He's the best. He's so funny.
He's been given the invite, but I'm not seeing anything. Not saying yes.
Yalla, Harry.
It's not coming up.
Yaakov, it's on you.
I'm not hearing anything.
I think everybody's called it a day or something.
I think so too. Well, I have to go, so let's see what happens. You guys have a really good night.
You as well.
Some people just can't let it go. Whoa. Some people, they're real slow. Whoa. Some people just can't let it go.
In time, we find the commandments of Yama and Niyama mentioned, though we must never forget that the conditions of success vary for every individual. And the cruelly might advise one people to drink more.
Unless there is a declared war, unless there is unless you are actually defending life, and meaning not to say that you can blow up an abortion clinic or something like that, to defend a person that can actually conscious life. I think that there are those exceptions, of course. But what I was going to ask you, Marshall, because you have the historical background, could you make an argument that right now that the Trump administration is behaving more like a revolutionary group that has assumed power, but hasn't yet decided to exercise and hasn't established that it believes in the principles of the government that it is now running or managing?
No. I think an argument you could make is that it's comparative upheaval to the today, that kind of class disparity, the race disparity, some of that stuff in major metropolitans is exacerbated because cities tend to have that trouble. It's not like cities are bad or anything. It's just like cities tend to have a lot more of that ardent class struggle because people are in such close settings. I think the piece
Okay, Ludwig, this has been an episode
not exactly sure
of green
how
bean fascists in the campaign to elect candidate Congressman John Kitover. This is your good friend Jaya.
Randomly, it
Take care.
appears.
Hope you have a good evening.
I think that's an astute observation of governments that don't exactly know what they want to do. I don't know that I would call it French Revolutionary. The way it comes across in my head is extreme upheaval of the status quo. Right? Like the Republicans, for example, want to get rid of mass bureaucracy. That's been something that's 100-year-old belief in the Republican Party.
Bipartisan.
But it would, bipartisan. Anyway, it would upend the system in the way it currently functions, right? So in that sense, yes, it could be revolutionary because it's completely trying to upend the established order and remake it. Now, I think the question, and this depends upon the person and their knowledge of history, and thus the examples they can think of. I don't know if that is always bad. It can be when the worst angels of our nature are emphasized over the best, then we end up having a problem. I'll give an example in my head. The president.
Marshall, I apologize. I think you might be a little bit in the matrix. I know sometimes you go in and out. So I apologize for asking a more, I guess, complex question. And maybe it's something we can revisit at another time.
Can you hear me any better?
Corey and Finley, speak. You're on the stage. You're just shitting on me and Victoria in the chat. Go ahead and talk.
What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the delusions that you were spewing or what?
Hey,
where do we
no,
want to go?
No, I don't.
Doing that. No, we're not doing that. That's not happening in Steve's room.
Okay.
Like
Okay,
I said in the
everybody,
chat,
I'll meet
I
over
asked her,
tomorrow.
let's go.
I'm gonna
Like
restart.
I said,
Let's go.
Like I said in the chat, you're not behaving. It's not that difficult. Don't attack the ladies. Talk about their points. Don't say they're fascist. Corey, just listen. Don't say they're fascist. Don't attribute motives to them they don't have. I may disagree with Dark Victoria all the time, but she does not deserve to get crapped on from you, and neither does Jane. And you know what you're doing is inflammatory when you do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't say the things you're saying. You need to manage it in a much more persuasive and respectful manner. That is the tenor and tone of Uncle Steve's room. We do not get into the gutter.
We literally had somebody say that somebody didn't have the right to speak somewhere. When you start to do that, that's a ideology.
Corey, the proper response to that accusation is that in a public venue, you have the right to speak. Thank you, whoever moved him. I appreciate that.
That was me.
Yeah, we're just not having that conversation on stage.
Thank you. Yes, really appreciate that. Also, the whole idea of where do you have the right to speak, etc. Obviously, in work settings, it's different than in the public square. And in the public square, it can still affect your work setting. So just be careful, everyone.
Thanks, Marshall.
Hey, James, I think you wanted to say something, and we got tired of that morass. What were you going to say?
Actually, nothing. I was just responding to the. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Tara.
Jane, why did you say thank you to Marshall?
Because he showed a modicum of pleasantness to me that I appreciated.
The modicum of niceness was what?
Telling that guy, what's his name again? Yeah.
I'm just going to take
already
a point
forgettable.
I'm just going to take a point of moderation. We're talking about the subject, not about the moderators. If you'd like to be different about the subject, I'm happy to have you.
I do want to
Probably
talk about
my
the subject.
whiteness, my white woman.
No,
Yeah,
I just,
something like that.
it was just like.
I felt appreciative that one Republican would say one pleasant thing that was moral. That's
like, but like, would he say it when you're not here?
No, I don't think so.
Yes, he would. I think he would. And Marshall.
Yes, of course I would.
Marshall
Dave's
is
a friend of mine.
Marshall's a very pleasant person, and there are a lot of
Would you say
very
it for
nice.
us?
Like,
Would you say it for us, Dismal, when we're not around?
yes.
Yes, I defend her when she's not around.
We're getting off track.
We're getting off track. This is not.
I'm just
But
curious.
I think
not a
it's. I think
discussion
the whole
about
othering,
me.
the whole othering conversation
I'm
is for
just-
another room.
But I haven't been able to like finish my thought here.
Because your thoughts about me, and we're not
Oh,
talking
she's
about.
asking me something. I appreciate this.
It was going to be a longer conversation, but everyone feels like they're hit as soon as we like start having a conversation. As you've noticed, a lot of your stages don't have a lot of people that from diverse backgrounds. I wonder why that is. I wonder why you're not able to be in spaces where people from other communities are having conversations about this, where they're talking about what the issues are around this.
What point do you not get we're not talking about me? I don't understand why this has to be a referendum on me instead of being our
Why are you feeling
you're not actually
because you were talking about me.
I feel like this is a diversion, though, from the topic of the space, and like it was. This is literally meant to be about.
Is the topic not about the critical thinking after party? Like I thought we were talking about Uncle Steve's space.
No,
think we were
actually
talking about-
having a conversation about subjects relating from the death penalty to health insurance
And
to whether or not
those
people
things
should
are not
be
related to
killed
like.
or whatever. We weren't talking about moderators. We weren't getting into the personal shit. That's what we were talking about.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you people talk about the things that you would like to talk about because clearly you do not want to have a conversation.
That's correct. Okay, goodbye.
I don't think that's.
24 hours ago, and the room is still here. Not sure if it's the same topic, but congratulations to the members.
I couldn't hear most of what you said. It sounds like you're actually
Tucker,
in the
you
plane
were-
that's taking that
You were
photo
having
right
a hard
now.
time with the mic.
Oh, I'm walking. Shout out to living in a city of public transportation.
I just want to say something because I think she's still down in the audience. Tara, like, it seems, and I could be wrong, but it seems when you want to talk, you want to gripe about something. And it doesn't feel like you actually want to have a conversation. You just want to, it seems, I'm not accusing you of anything. It seems like you're not an honest interlocutor. Like, it's more like you want to come in, gripe about something, and just cast aspersions. And I think, like anybody up here, is tough enough to stand on their own. But it doesn't actually seem like you actually want to talk about anything, as opposed to talking about someone.
I know Taro actually has quite a few like really interesting perspectives to offer. I don't follow people like willy-nilly, especially on my new profile, and I think sometimes it's really easy on Clubhouse to go into a conversation about the setting of the space rather than the topic. And so I really think that you guys do a great job of trying to moderate, but sometimes, and perhaps it was like my own fault, I did ask a question that led Marshall down like a little bit of a history lesson or history rabbit hole. And maybe that was for another space as well. So I did get off topic as well. So my apologies.
So, what is the topic?
Well, I'm going to say the great Jane Rosenzweig is down there. So while we have a moment, if you haven't heard Jane's podcasting host debut, Jane interviewed me for my 300th episode of one of my interview show. I was the guest for Jane, and Jane did a great job. So not to make it about the mods, but I will make it about the mods. So I'll put the link in the chat. Great job by the great Jane Rosenzweig. I call her one of the great ones. So she's amazing, and I'll put the link in the chat. And yeah, great to see everybody. I'm walking through the streets of West Philadelphia, and appreciate everybody being here for the Critical Thinking After Party.
Scotty, you're in a big city. Like, I haven't been to Philly in 5 years. Like, what's the homeless situation like?
There are, I mean, it's present. I mean, it's not the worst I've ever seen it. I've lived here on and off for a really long time, and it's real, right? I mean, but it's not, same thing like with the crime situation. It's not like Philadelphia is not awful. I mean, it's just not. I mean, I've seen it in safer periods, but it's far safer than it was, say, decades ago. I mean, it's not. I walk around. I live in neighborhoods that are not, bushy, posh neighborhoods. I mean, they're, I walk around. I mean, I feel pretty safe here. I mean, I think our mayor is she's done some things like around addiction stuff, like the homeless addiction community I don't love, like around needles and stuff, like not like getting rid of clean needles and stuff. But all in all, I mean, our mayor's not, she's not the worst we've had. I mean, she's doing a decent job. So I like my city. I think my city's, on the upswing. So it's no New York, Daryl, but really, Daryl, what is New York? What is New York? Nothing. There's no city compares to New York City. I mean, it's the capital of the world.
Yeah, capital of everything, unfortunately, sometimes, right?
Well, just gonna say I love both those cities, you guys, so you don't have to convince me. Absolutely love them. Lived in Philadelphia for 4 years in graduate school. Love that city. And New York, I mean, it's in my back pocket. But I do want to thank Marshall for trying to return. I am late to this party, but for trying to return the conversation to the topic and not let a drama take over, because there's so much happening in this great country of ours. And I wanted to know, has anybody heard that CNN reported that Jimmy Kimmel is being taken off the air? I think that's...
Yeah, he's next. He's next indefinitely for some comments he made. Yeah, he's out.
That's just incredible. It is incredible. I mean, I'm flabbergasted.
What were the comments that he made?
It was something about Kurt Scott. So he got dropped by one of like the biggest affiliate stations, right? So it's like channel 2, 4, 7, and 11. They and I learned this from NBC, but like they tend to work on affiliates who carry like broadcasting. So that's why, there might be a show that airs on channel 4 here in New York, but it might air on channel 7 through syndication in Philadelphia. And apparently this affiliate owner didn't like, I don't even know what Jimmy said, but didn't like something that Jimmy said and dropped him. And so that would be a big financial burden for, Disney, ABC to cover to continue to put the show out if there's no actual ad revenue coming in via like commercials. I said the same thing when they canceled Colbert. That show, according to some estimates, was losing $40 million a year and was only averaging like maybe 2.5, 3 million viewers a night. And big productions are really expensive to carry, and you need a lot of ad revenue. You need to be selling 30-second commercials for $30,000, and nobody is.
I understand all that, but why? I asked the question. What did he say?
Don't know.
Did he not grieve enough for them? Because I don't trust in what they're saying that he said rose to the level of a cancellation.
The quote's in the chat. I didn't find it particularly egregious myself, but the guy who owns Nexstar does. So
this is what's interesting to me.
It's objectively not egregious.
What's so interesting to me is some of my conservative friends, some of my best friends are conservatives, that feel like that they are so oppressed. I've been talking and texting with people of them around some of these issues over the past couple of days, and they act like they're so marginalized. I'm like, you're taking down media personalities. Like this is what I mean. You have cultural power. You know what I mean? Like they act like they don't have cultural power. They've got massive cultural power. They've taken down Colbert now. They've taken down Jimmy Kimmel now, right? Like, I mean, it's just interesting because there's this sort of conservative narrative oppression story, and it's like you've got all branches of government, and people are so afraid that they're canceling major programming. How are you not in the driver's?
Yeah, I think one
No,
of the
Marshall,
things.
go ahead.
Oh,
Go
sorry, Len, I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
No, I just want to, to talk about these cancellations because this scares me. This really, really frightens me because we're moving in a direction that has nothing to do with American democracy as I know it. I mean, did the Democrats ever cancel political satire? Where, I mean, we all take for granted, some jokes might be way off color, but we take for granted that political satire is allowed and can be heard with several grains of salt, right?
Now, the last big Democrat censor person I can think of, and I could be wrong, but is Tipper Gore, right? Tipper Gore was when she was second lady. I mean, her sort of stuff was rap lyrics and and she was big with explicit lyrics labels that went on to Walmart and stuff like that. So that's the last Democrat I can remember that was sort of in the forefront of a censorship movement.
I'll tell you one of the things I find odd about the remembering of Kirk as it's going on is the attempt to semi-deify him as some sort of a saint. I don't mean that literally, I mean that more figuratively. The kind of idolatrous behavior that is going on with his memory is, I'm sure, by all metrics, he was some sort of a devout Christian. I don't know which denomination he was, but he believed heavily in God. The man who believed heavily in God, I highly doubt would want himself to be made into an idol. It just seems yucky. I'll also comment on the thing where conservatives feel oppressed. Conservatives feel oppressed. I live in an area that still has governance of Democrats in Texas, and it's had it for over 100 years. I don't feel oppressed in the Rio Grande Valley. I think it is weird to, in the wake of this stuff, get one's feelings hurt. people are allowed to think Charlie Kirk is a terrible person while also thinking he didn't deserve to get shot down like a dog in the street. Those two beliefs can be in one's head at the same time. And I think we do ourselves a real disservice on the right-hand side of the aisle when we, for lack of a better description, for snowflakery reasons, become very sensitive to the way this stuff is portrayed. I can understand one's personal life being offended by it. I understand not liking it on Clubhouse because it's distasteful, but this kind of like, oh, we have such a big offense to carry. Like, that doesn't work for me. Now, I don't support, well, he said nasty, terrible things, and so therefore he shouldn't know what he was going to say, and he got what was coming to him. I don't think that stuff's appropriate. But I do think it's totally appropriate to say, I'm not a big fan of the dude. I don't like him, or as Jane has said properly, that he punched down. And Jane still believes, I know she does, that political violence is bad no matter who it happens to. Right? Like, I don't understand the conservative head, on the conservative side, why we can't both of the pieces in our head at the same time.
Because it gives you the.
Oh, can anyone hear me? I guess not.
Because, hold on, Tucker, 1 second. But, this is selective because, again, I've been, blowing this horn. We're not talking about Epstein. And it's like for the first time in maybe 6 months that Epstein isn't carrying the daily news or the daily headline. And I think that whoever doesn't want Epstein talked about is going to ride this wave until people just move on, because people tend to move on.
So I have kind of it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander take on the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, at least as an initial reaction. I always kind of felt like broad strokes conservative reaction to, cancel culture was, a bunch of pearl clutching, essentially, because the way I saw it and the way I experienced it was people were like, well, no, I'm not going to consume. I'm going to consume in ways that make sure that money doesn't go to actors, producers, writers, comedians, so on and so forth, who I disagree with, right? And leveraging economic power to have views expressed. And that included supporting platforms that wanted to take people off of them because platforms are allowed to do that. And I don't think that Nexstar is in the right here. I don't think that ABC is in the right here. But ultimately, Jimmy Kimmel has a lot of name recognition, a lot of ways to get his message out still. And so I would just, censorship is bad. There's lots of real concerning things that are going on squarely in the censorship realm. But I don't know. And there are good, valid criticisms of consolidation in network TV specifically that has been guided politically, let's say. But again, I don't think, people acting on their, on their sincerely held beliefs in the marketplace is the censorship critique that I want to adopt.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's all just very confusing. I mean, no one wants political assassinations to happen in this country because we all live here, and it doesn't really matter which side of the political spectrum you're on. That's evidence of a society that's really collapsing and hurting. So, and a democracy that's in trouble. That's one thing. The other thing is that when we start to witness censorship, whether you are going to lose your job because you didn't agree with what Kirk said, that doesn't mean that you don't mourn for a political assassination. I mean, most people are logical. We don't celebrate assassinations, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be following the law. And this is a particular extreme example. Not that any murder is okay, every murder horrendous, but this was really extreme. But to lose your job because you said publicly or on social media that you didn't agree with him, these things, you know, we're going down a very slippery slope of censorship and a turn towards authoritarianism, and that is something that I really worry about.
What's going on with this space where it just ends up being like a bunch of people, like it's like one of the dregs of this app right now, where people come in and just continue to attack other people, and all these like rabid people on the right keep doing it, and I don't understand what's going on. This is not the space I walked into earlier where we were having a good conversation.
I started checking out the chat and deleting a couple of comments where there were some personal attacks. Like, I just think it's everybody wants you to be mad about what they're mad about, and if you don't, you're somehow a failure because you won't pick up their cross to bear.
Hey Chuck, if you got some stuff to say in the chat and you're on stage, you should be willing to say it on stage and not in the chat. Otherwise, I fail to understand why you're up here. If you're just going to sit here and be a chat warrior.
His record is despite good reports from his CEOs, he was repeatedly transferred. Administration communications, yeah, quite well. No, it's nothing like that. Joe's parents were both psychologists. It's a long time.
Hey JCC, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I just got done working for a little bit and thought I'd come back. How'd this room go?
It was good.
It was good.
I'm with Scott. It was good.
This is a bit of a non sequitur, but since things are winding down, I started reading The Spirit of the Law, by Montesquieu, which was published in 1790. So it's one of the kind of classic texts that the founders would have read when they were thinking about how to frame the Constitution. And one of the things he talks about, kind of ad nauseum, actually, is the concept of virtue, and he defines it in ways that I think are interesting if you understand American history. For example, he talks about the value of citizenship, and he talks about preferencing community over wealth accumulation, and I think it's reflected directly in the Constitution, because he says bribes are anathema in a republic, which is literally, explicitly incorporated into the Constitution. And the founders in their writings talked about virtue in much the same way that Montesquieu did. I don't know. I just passed a part where he says very explicit, a republic is in decadence when magistrates preference making money off of their position because it shows that the morals and the virtue of the republic system have been corrupted. So it's just very telling. And I think just one aspect of U.S. history that I think has been lost on many people is before kind of the Industrial Revolution, at like the 1870s, 80s, Americans as a people generally their concept of a good life was not getting super wealthy. It was like having a homestead, and what they referred to as a competence, which put you among your peers, right? It allowed you to know among your peers. It didn't separate you because you were so wealthy that you couldn't understand what other people were going through. So just wanted to share those thoughts.
Thank you, Tipper. That was interesting.
Marshall or anyone who has a current depth of knowledge about white nationalists? Marshall, do you? I mean, are we splitting hairs here? Groyper, Proud Boy, KKK, sorry, MAGA. What do we have to prove? These are bad people. They're anti-American values. Is that safe to say? Does anyone want to argue? And I'm not saying American values, by the way, are executed purely, but why is there such defense of these radical, maniacal, homicidal, evil groups? What's up with that, Marshall? I mean, I'm asking you an honest question, politically. Chuck Finley, read the Constitution. Come on, mods.
Well, I agree with you, Jane. I have nothing to say to the contrary. I mean, I think it is scary when we have Christian nationalists, white supremacists, groypers, doing what they do and convincing people to that ideology is dangerous, I think.
I mean, Jane, you're saying like there's not a point in parsing out the differences between the stuff that it's a wasted breath even.
It's a big umbrella.
Paint them all with one brush. They're all fucking assholes. They don't deserve a microphone, and we should dismiss them all definitively and unceremonious.
You know what? I might not. Although I don't agree with the way the First Amendment is managed in this country, as you know. Do I think they all have to be painted with the same brush or shut down? No, because of the commitment to the Constitution. But Scott, should our dominant, currently in charge political party be putting their affiliation with these groups? That's what I have a problem with. Why would our president? I mean, I'm asking it facetiously, Why would the American government be taking a positive standing with these people? Groyper, Proud Boy, whatever, Scott. I guess you're right. I'm lumping them in.
Is it because they're mainly Christian? And Christians are the high populace of the country and viewed with, high regard, kind of, sort of?
Yeah, maybe.
No, I think that's a different question. I mean, I think the question, if you're asking why does the Republican establishment, right, why is it seemingly overprotective of people that seem out of the mainstream?
Anti-American. Yes.
Yeah, anti-American out of the mainstream, tribal, extremists, Nazi, whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever you want to say, right? Yeah. Choose your poison. I think, so this is just anecdotal, right? But I think that when people say, when people start to say, well, these people, Charlie Kirk's a white nationalist, I think that their base, while maybe not white nationalists, right, or at least part of the base. I mean, I'm talking about some friends I'm in pretty active dialogue with right now, in a very interesting, very intense, a little frustrating at times. They are inherently defensive, right? And I think that's there's just a sort of circle the wagons, right? That you can't give an inch. That this is, Jesse Waters gave an interesting editorial on his show. I say interesting is a clinical neutral. Interesting is a clinical neutral term.
Let me guess. Did he talk about white replacement theory?
Well, no, he talked.
Any of them will talk about that, Scott. They're all
these people have declared war on us, and he went on a litany of all these provocations, and the left has declared war, and so there's the siege mentality. So there's the sense that compromise is the language of the devil, right? That if you give an inch, that you're equivocated, right? And that so you get this. So you have these folks who want a full-throated defense, right? And so you wind up, I think, unable to talk with some complexity and say, yeah, no, I mean, we condemn this, and because that stuff is seen as weak, right? It's seen as kowtowing. It's seen as, I think of, I think it's pathetic on one level, but then you think how many times though, and I'll just say, this isn't a defense of it, but it's maybe intellectual empathy. How many times are you in rooms or conversations with people on the left where it's like, don't cow out of these people, don't compromise to these people, don't, and I've painted with a broad brush and probably been pretty unnuanced, especially when it gets heated, and especially when I feel defensive and when I feel like there's things that matter to me that are at stake, and I feel under siege. So I mean, but I think that's part of it. I think there's this sense that condemnation of some of the uglier sides will be perceived as weakness on the part of the base, even if the base doesn't find all of it praiseworthy. It's sort of like they're assholes, but there are assholes. There are assholes, and so go after their assholes, not our. But I take full ownership of the fact that that's impressionistic and anecdotal. So what is that worth? Very little. Although what I will say, it's not anecdotal, because my friends, I was just in this group thread. I was pointing to just all these studies about sources of violence, right? Political violence, and it's not nuanced. It's not ambiguous, right? I mean, if you look over the past the past few decades, it's overwhelmingly on the right. Now, there are instances on the left. I'm not saying there are none, but it's not equivalent, not even close. And so my friends basically dismissed all my sources. So it was interesting. Today I found somebody posted a source from the Cato Institute, which is, I don't know how you get more right-wing than the Cato.
Their own shit. They're rejecting their own shit.
So I'm ready to post that tonight. That will be, of course, denied. Somebody said to me when I was pointing out the studies, don't believe the data. I said, what if I just go by the data? Don't go by the data. Go by your eyes. That's right. Okay. I mean, well, my eyes tell me a lot of stuff too, but I feel like there's this sense in which we could try to have a more objectively anchored conversation. But, this is I thought the left. I thought we were the subjective emotionalists, but that's less and less the case. I am totally sure. Tara wanted to come up. Tara, I did not. I tried to please. You disappeared. Oh, there you go. Sorry, you're operating that way.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah.
Hey, I think that's what's frustrating, right? Like, people are not having objective conversations around these topics because they have no objective kind of like grounding to political theory work. And so it's kind of hilarious listening to people talk about things that they don't really want to be grounded in. Like, they just have built up a delusion and they are far gone in their delusion at this point that they don't want to address the obvious issues. And that makes them feel very uncomfortable. Like, it's important to understand the difference between Klansmen and groypers, and because this morphology is very much harming people today, right? We talked, like, you know, about the two Black men that were lynched in Mississippi, right? Like, currently it's being ruled suicides. Who knows if they'll even ever, like, political violence is not new. Political violence happens every fucking day. When did you think it was not happening? Were you confused? You just got political because your guy got affected. Oh, who was your guy then? Let's look into that. Let's try to understand who your guy is. That you're only concerned that this guy died from political violence, and not the fact that on Fox News an anchor said to go ahead and kill the homeless. Who are the homeless? Who are the homeless? 65% of the people that are homeless in the U.S. are foster children. Children who have been failed by your society. You want to kill them. That is what is being peddled on your TVs. And you are okay with that because everyone should have the freedom of speech. Everyone should be allowed to kill anybody they like. And it's okay. But don't do it to us. The absurdity is like laughable in these rooms because people don't want to be real about anything. They think it's a fucking joke. And that's the reality. Scott?
It is Clubhouse. Yeah, I mean, I do think people do come here. You're right. I mean, I do think this isn't the Oxford debate. So,
They out here for jokes. They out here for jokes.
Yes.
They're trying to get one off, right? They think everything's a fucking joke. Until, now there's political violence. Today, all of a sudden, not when Native children are being detached from their families. When that ICWA hearing went down, how many thousands of Native children are going to be dead because of that decision? Those are not political deaths, because Native people are free to kill. Kill them as much as you want. We commit genocide in North America, and it is okay. That is what these people want to talk about. It's only political when Charlie Kirk dies. That's when it becomes political.
Hold on a second.
Right, Lena, girlfriend.
No,
we heard you. We heard you. No drama, girl. No drama, girl. Don't get in the drama, girl.
Hold on.
Hold on. Other people talk.
Don't. Why are you going to be a drama?
I'm not.
Don't be a drama queen. Don't be a drama queen.
Hold on, King, for a second. King, for a second. Like, excuse me. Taro. Like, this is not like one of those rooms. You know,
she's the one that said that I was being drama. Daryl, did you actually stop for that?
Yeah, that's fine. But let her say what she wants.
Respectability politics on her.
Wait.
Did you start getting respectable? Did you get her to get real respectable with you?
Hang on. Just wait. We want each of you to talk. Let's not over-talk each other. That's all that we're trying to say.
JCC, was something going on before you came into the room, maybe?
All I'm seeing is someone wanting to chime in a little bit.
You might just want to let the moderators that were in the room at the time deal with the problem.
The problem I'm seeing is you're over talking to someone trying to put their 2 cents in.
You would see it that way, JCC. You would see it.
Well, you know what else I see? I see you going down the audience. How about that? For them, C's. There we go. Capital C for me.
Put down. I wouldn't even do that. Let's bring it back. Let's give her a shot.
Yeah, give her a shout out. Give her a shout out for being a bitch. There we go. Yeah, I called her a bitch.
I don't think she's. Come on.
Come on. No. I call it like I see it, bro. Come on. Let's not sugarcoat it. All I was trying to do is allow 2 people to talk, bro. That's it.
Okay, can I just respond? Taro, you're a very emotional person, and I respect that. I spoke, I think, very logically, and I'm not interested in emotionally addressing the issues. Of course, there's a lot of political violence that's very nuanced. I'm talking about a particular moment that has been broadcast live to the entire United States, okay? I fully accept, but we will be here for 3 days if we go into all the subtleties of what constitutes political violence. I'm talking about in a full-blown paramount production of political violence, because I don't have the time to discuss all the nuances. If you do, I think you should open a room on your own and go through every act of political violence that happens in this country and in other countries as well.
I guess she doesn't want to say. Roya, welcome up.
What's up, everyone? What's the topic?
Not the one that started.
Neato. Hey, Lena.
Hi, Roya Moo. I mean, we're talking about the issue of the day, and it's been very well moderated up until recently. Marshall was in here, Scott was in here, Daryl's fantastic. I mean, it's been a very good discussion, but emotions are running high, let's just put it that way, on what constitutes political violence.
By the way, I mean, it's a interesting topic. I mean, like, political violence is definitely one of those terms that gets thrown around a lot, but actually sitting down and saying, like, oh, well, what actually counts? Like, is it only physical harm, or is it politically violent to implement intimidation tactics? Is coercion considered political violence? As the prior speaker, I think it just got a little bit unhinged, to be fair, but that is a question. Now, if that's not the question of the room, whether or not, systemic violence also, is political violence, those are all things that can be unpacked and, civilly. But yeah, I'm going to listen more to see what the room has to say, so that I can, listen and respond accordingly to the temperature and a specific frame that you guys are laying the conversation out.
Well, glad you're here, Roya. because you're always a voice of reason, and it has been a reasonable space until recently. But yes, I mean, there are a lot of things that we've touched on. You know, why Jimmy Kimmel has been canceled, or why Charlie Kirk is turning into a martyr, and we're going to have a spectacle on Sunday. And is it okay to abhor a full-blown spectacle of assassination, but also disagree with what he purportedly stood for? You know, I mean, and people losing their jobs over saying that they didn't agree with his opinions. I mean, these things, you know, they go to the very root of democracy and what we're all aiming for. And any conversation, my goal is to find a united front as to what's happening, not to be divisive, but I don't always, I'm not always successful.
Hey guys, JCC, you still there?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
So I got a bail. I got class in the morning, so I'm gonna leave you with the reins. Steve said that you can shut it down whenever you want. It was a good room until it wasn't, but yeah, I'm out.
Gotcha.
Have a good night. Have a good night, ladies.
Yeah. We'll keep it going as long as you folks want to keep chatting. All I ask is let's be civil and not over talk each other.
Hey, JCC, beautiful man. Hey.
I'm all right, Lula. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Hey, everyone. So just with reference to people getting fired, have they not been fired because they've kind of been laughing about him being killed and celebrating him being killed? No? I thought that's what was happening, and that's why people have been removed from their jobs, not just for disagreeing with him. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm not too knowledgeable. I heard of people being distasteful in their commentary about the death. I think that may be a means for removing them from their position. But I think someone was it Lena? Were you saying like people were not agreeing with his position, and that was causing them their jobs? Is that what's going on?
I have not gone into the weeds on this, but I don't know where you draw the line, right? I mean, either we believe in the Bill of Rights or we don't. You know, I'm taking an absolutist position for the sake of argument, right? Pam Bondi came out and said hate speech is going to be persecuted. Well, you know, guess what? I mean, hate speech has been around since the formation of this democracy. So what are we doing here? Are we refiguring the democratic ideals? I mean, we all have to agree on some common truth. I don't think it's right to mock an assassination. I said that from the very beginning. It was horrific. But you can't pursue people for ridiculing somebody they did not agree with his values. I mean, you can't pursue. We can't run a democracy with a culture of persecution.
Right. I'm just going to only talk solely about the ABC situation because that's what I'm the most familiar with and that's the most recent. So, I mean, I don't think that it's okay that ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air. Like, yes, they're a private company, and yes, technically they're not bound by the First Amendment in the same way that the government is, right? But the principle still matters here. Like when networks are going to be punishing speech just for being offensive or I guess politically inconvenient due to the zeitgeist or whatever it may be, or their the bottom dollar of their their broadcast and their network, it just sets a really dangerous precedent, right? Like it's telling comedians, journalists, and I mean, it sends the message to everyday people that you can speak, but only if your speech is market friendly and acceptable due to the temperature of the culture. And I feel like, or a segment of the culture, right? And so I think that really, I think that it definitely does create a rather chilling effect, like where, people can start self-censoring out of fear, which is the opposite of what healthy democracy needs. Like offensive speech, however offensive, like is not harm. And the role of media, and from my vantage point, is that it should broaden the debate and not go out of its way to narrow it, if you catch what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I actually think that ABC is being a bit of a sissy, and and
I don't disagree with you, Roya, unsurprisingly. And I think when people are, I've seen some of these TikTok videos where people are literally dancing, laughing, celebrating this man being killed. And a lot of these people are in positions of authority, a lot of them are teachers and so on. You cannot be standing in front of a classroom and putting that on your public social media. You should be neutral in those kinds of roles. So I agree. And as a teacher, I'm a teacher myself. And if I did something like that, I would expect to lose my job because it's not appropriate. It depends on the role also that people are doing. So I don't think it's people being persecuted necessarily. I do think that people need to take responsibility. And if they're in a role where they influence other people, then no. And also, why on earth would anyone celebrate a young man, whoever they are, being shot in the neck in front of his wife? And that sickens me. Like, you can disagree with what he said for sure. We should all be able to speak about what we agree or disagree with. But to celebrate someone being assassinated, that's all kinds of wrong.
No, I agree. And of course, private employers, they do have parameters around the speech. And now, in employment contracts in which there are limits on, your usage and your expression on social media platforms. And I do think that, yes, teachers are public servants. They hold trust from students, parents, community. And, when there is, a violent death being celebrated, I mean, that does it definitely does. It's not a great look, that they're, the idea is that these people are the stewards and, caretakers of values, and, a teacher's role is to model civility. So, I mean, I can understand that. And also the moral example in which we're trying. So, I mean, I can understand that part. So, I mean, of course, free speech isn't free from consequences. So just because you can legally say something doesn't mean that there aren't costs to that. Especially like you mentioned in public facing and, authority roles and such. So, I mean, it depends on the speech, though. I mean, what a comedian like Jimmy Kimmel did is not the same as celebrating or, celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, right? So it's not the same.
Absolutely. And I've only seen the Jimmy Kimmel update tonight, and I'm pretty shocked by that, actually.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, you guys, you see that, and here's where we get into the weeds, right? Like, when is it appropriate? As I said earlier, and Roya, you hadn't come up yet onto the room, into the room, that we take for granted that political satire is just that. Political satire is satire. When we start censoring political satire, that is very dangerous. On the other hand, was it Meg or Lula? I don't know who said, people who are in the position of stewardship, to quote Roya, have to be very careful because they're influencing minds that aren't yet formed, right? And can't make the distinction. But, you know, then we get into this whole issue of what's private and what's public now in discourse, now that we're living in this age of social media. And we're crossing some boundaries that are very tricky to navigate.
Well, I think we're going to have to catch up and really figure out what our values are and if there are any boundaries, because social media influencers are not public servants. They're not teachers, but they have the power to guide, particularly the young people, in some really horrible ways. You know,
Agree.
Andrew Tate. Like if Andrew Tate were to meet his demise, I'm sure a lot of teachers would feel relieved, even though the damage is done already, right? The normalization of misogyny and rape culture. I'm sure a lot of because a lot of children have regurgitated the nonsense in their classrooms, and I really think that like we're not better for this at all. I remember, and maybe my memory fails me, when people were sharing cartoons of Obama as a monkey, and Michelle Obama is like a monkey, and people saying that she was transgender as an insult. All of these things that occurred, I'm not sure that outside of only the worst and most egregious, but then it does, context matters. It does depend on what's going on. But you know, Charlie Kirk regurgitated some very bigoted views, and the fact that I have to tiptoe around that for fear of sanction when it's the truth. It's not an opinion. These things aren't opinions. Stereotypes are not opinions. They're stereotypes. They're not based in fact, and they're very harmful. I think what people are missing is the fact that a lot of people were harmed by Kirk's rhetoric. Definitely bigoted views of, and I don't know if anybody has ever, you know, I imagine Charlie Kirk saying that, you know, classifying, and I'm just pulling this off of the top of my head because I know the shit that people say in the world, the dumb shit people say in the world. Imagine it coming from Charlie Kirk's mouth that Jewish people should not be classified under protected class citizenship because they're white, right? Imagine that, like we're in an environment where people who have critiques about other governments that they're not citizens of are being sanctioned by the state. You know, they're being sanctioned under pressure of billionaires, which is highly problematic. You know, to kick these people out of school, to take away their degrees that they worked for, this shit is insane. Like, it's not just about Charlie Kirk. I mean, it's not just about Charlie Kirk. It's not just about Jimmy Kimmel. It's not just about Colbert. And I think that we need to be very serious about this moment as it relates to what exactly we're doing here, because this is not familiar, at least in my lifetime. In my lifetime, people had the freedom to burn the flag if they so chose, and because it was speech, you don't have to like it. Klansmen have been on national TV. You don't have to like it. But again, it always seems very one-sided. And it's just interesting to watch what people tolerate. I definitely did feel what that young lady was saying about the outrage and the energy around the perception of political violence, quote unquote political violence. Because I'm not sure that it's political violence, actually. I'm not sure that just having a political opinion and having reach, there's just a lot of elements going on, with the social media influencer, the parasocial relationship, all the things. I'm not sure. I still have some things that I'm trying to figure out, but it's just weird. And sometimes, like, do our children need to be filmed getting gunned down in order for people to be as outraged? There was a school shooting at the same time this was occurring. I don't think the president said Nathan about that shit. And it's preposterous. Do we need to put video cameras in every classroom so that when inevitably those drills come in handy and they have to dodge for their life, and we have to watch children being shot in order for us to be so moved, because we're turning all of our mores, all of our norms upside down for Charlie Kirk and the reaction to Charlie Kirk. That's a political moment, but nothing for the children. And that continues to happen over and over and over again. So I don't know. I don't feel positive about the moment. I anticipated political assassinations would increase because it always does. I mean, every country during times of unrest, political assassinations occur, and they've been occurring, right? This is not the first. So I just, it's interesting to me, the people whose lives we really value.
Yeah, I mean,
people whose lives we don't.
So sorry, King. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I landed. You're good.
No, I mean, you're absolutely, like, what makes this moment so different is that, shifting from, condemning violence itself, which is, which is normal for just decent civic stewards to usually do, especially in the top position as president, but like, to using it as a springboard to go after speech and then pin blame on an entire party in such a blatantly, not even cloaked or tacit, way of politicization. Like, in the past, like, leaders might have said, we denounce violence, we defend free expression, but now we're hearing Pam Bondi talk on a podcast, about the DOJ, quote unquote, targeting hate speech. And then we have, the Trump with saying that it's Democrats' fault, and the thing that he said to, who is the ABC? Oh, Jonathan Karl, I believe, that he in the middle of Jonathan Karl asking him a question about speech, it's threatening him. I mean, we are in really, really, really dangerous waters, and that's like a new line being crossed. All of these actions, instead of like drawing the legal boundary at incitement or true threats, it's not okay to threaten or say that there's the intent to broaden it to include offensive or partisan speech. Like, that's not about stopping violence, like what they're alleging. Like, that's about actually expanding power on who gets to speak and who doesn't, from my vantage point.
So, Queen, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, you brought up some excellent points, and so did Roya, and I think that the issue that we're dealing with is what is free speech? Where are the boundaries of free speech? And when do we slip into an authoritarian system? And I think we all have to, I think that if we distill the issues, because if we're going to talk about political violence, that is so nuanced, that I don't think that a room like this has the ability to really go into it. I mean, we would have to have a 3-day conference to really talk about that. But I think the issue revolves around what can you talk about and what can you not talk about under threat. And maybe, this is a reaction from the right for the years of what is perceived as left-wing elitist diversity, equity, and inclusion. I don't know what's going on, but I do know that we are at a sectional moment, a very pivotal moment, and I don't know where it's going, and it worries me. It worries me a lot. I'm sure it worries a lot of people.
Yeah, it definitely is concerning when folks like Jimmy Kimmel get fired for, a comedy skit that pokes fun at someone in a high position. So, yeah, where are the boundaries of free speech? That's kind of a good point.
Well, I mean, the boundaries around free speech in this country are intentionally vague, right? Like they're intentionally written broadly, right? So that the government can't easily move the goalpost and decide what ideas are allowed. And as we know, our courts have only set the precedent and carved out super narrow exceptions, right, around true true threats, actual threats, incitement, and everything else is pretty much I can't remember all of the. I'm no lawyer, so the rest, the whatever's left is kind of everything else is protected, and so I cherish that vagueness. That vagueness is the actual safeguard against authoritarianism, right? It forces us to err on a side of more speech, even if we don't like it, right? Even if we find it distasteful, even if we find it crude or crass or even morally shitty, like that. It's better for us to err on the side of more than less. And the moment you start to, all of us should be afraid if there's threats or actual moves to start defining speech too tightly. Because, you hand politicians that power to censor anything, they don't you know, who knows what's going to happen? And who knows what they're going to label as harmful or hateful? Seems quite partisan if we don't even have, even if, you know, the actual, if we haven't even gone through the correct investigation and legal proceedings around this shooter, this assassin who's committed this heinous crime, but he still is, you know, under the United States Constitution, he still has his right to his day in court. So there's lots of things that are still vague, and, you know, we still don't know a lot about what's happening. But yet, for the President of the United States to turn around and blame an entire political party in such a blatantly, you know, polytainment energy way just for clout is really, really not okay. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's kind of the scary point to hear from our leader of a nation, to say things like that are very insightful, that can cause problems. And that's where it's an issue for sure.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I get it. Now the mudslinging, the getting a little bit, you know, down into the trenches, you know, kind of being the bad boy of the campaign cycle, that's one thing, but it's completely different once you're actually in elected office. But again, I mean, it's not like I expect anything different from someone who's not really taking on the role of president to be able to serve the public. That's not really the motivation here. So rules are different.
Yeah, so Roya, you bring up an excellent point, and I just have to reinforce that, because the government should be in service of our democracy. And when the government fails to be in service of our democracy and starts to veer off in a direction that could be easily interpreted as more authoritarian, and the government is aspirational, right? It's what all Americans want to look up to. That starts to go in a direction that may be full of censorship, animosity, violence, rhetoric that is agitating rather than calming, then we're in trouble.
I definitely see the ACLU being very busy for a while now, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you for the room, JCC, and everyone else.
Yeah, you guys are great to listen to. Thank you. Yeah, just I don't want to take any credit. I came in at the beginning and I had to leave for work, and I came back at the end, so I wasn't much of a contributor. But I appreciate it, all your guys' points, and lovely ladies speaking your mind. It's greatly appreciated. So you guys have I think it's time to say goodbye. It was a great room, I heard, and so glad you guys got your time to share your thoughts and opinions. And that's the beauty of this country, right? Y'all have a good one.
Thanks.
Was trying to mock the political Republic.
Okay, let me dialogue with you. Okay, let me stop right there for 1 second, right? So, do you remember, like, about 5 minutes ago, Miss Deborah came on stage and she said that we already read that, and asked you to stop reading, and you said this, you're almost done. You're gonna read it again. That's exactly what you read 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
you said you saw nothing wrong with it.
But after I thought about it, I really agree with sometimes these. What I'm trying to.
Girl, y'all are funny.
I don't see things. Well, let me just add this and I'll land my plane. I don't think he should. I don't think he should be.
I thought it was my gummies kicking in, Just.
I don't think he should be thrown off the air for the comments.
Guys, please.
But
don't.
I
I'm not
agree
in the
with
mood for
Mike
it now.
because sometimes these comedians can go too far, and we have to think about what has really happened here. Someone lost their lives, and Trump, he's a very close friend of the family. So Trump, with him having the influence and being the president of the United States, I guess he can do say something. Things could be done differently. If you are mocking the president of the United States, close family friend, then it's
10 seconds. We got a full stage, y'all. Please, we got a full stage. We got to pass this around. Go ahead, Haitian, finish it.
I'm still not understanding how you
just explain to you that I agree. I don't think he should have been thrown out the air.
But in the same token, before Mike would say that Trump is the one who this is him. This is who started this shit in this country with politics. This is the one who brought it to this level, right? But y'all don't say nothing about that. You guys act like he's a victim. You didn't say nobody killed January 6th. Who's the victim? Hold on. You know who else was shut the fuck up, Mike. You know what else was a family friend?
It's a lot.
And you and that damn echo, it's hard to follow you.
Excuse me.
Why
was I dropped? What happened?
There you go. You're clear now, boss. Time out. Come on, y'all. Let's have this conversation. She doesn't agree with you. She wants to state it. She's already stated it. Now you can reply. The reason you're so anxious to reply is because you don't agree with her. Now, if you agree with her, we be moving on. So go ahead, y'all, have your dialogue back and forth.
Lisa, may I offer a perspective?
Yes, you will. 1 minute. When Haitian is done. I cannot.
Wow. Lisa, you heard that, right? You heard that, right? Somebody disagrees. They're a coon. They're a nut job.
Yeah, bitch. I ain't gonna apologize.
That the Democrats have. This is your rhetoric, Lisa.
Exactly.
Okay, can I just say something? Okay, because I'm asking you guys. Can we have this conversation tonight without it going 100% left? Because I want to ask the people who are downstairs and not the ones on stage. Are you guys enjoying the back and forth? Put a 1 in the chat if you are, and we'll let it just go off the rails.
No.
Everybody put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you like the way it's going right now, or do you want us to go have a dialogue back and forth? Put a 1 in the chat if you like where it's going right now. Go ahead. I knew you were going to do that, right? Thank you.
Let it go off the rails. Let it go.
Okay.
Who he's saying the victim is.
Thank you for 20 club members. I really appreciate you putting that in there. And it just let us have the conversation. Then once we have the conversation, we can go off the rails. She doesn't agree with you. So anybody else want to jump in at this point?
I never fucking told you. Okay, go ahead, y'all.
I just said. Ooh, child. Put me in the queue. I just said, and I said it so very clearly. I said, Haitian, are you done?
I'm not saying you. You say this shit clearly, and then the fucking special ads come off of Mike.
Okay, so you guys, Haitian is speaking. If you don't mind, can you allow him to complete his thought? And then we'll go from there, because he has a point that I wanted to hear, especially the part about Gen 6. This is some important information. Please, let Haitian finish his point, and I promise you guys, because I have good mods. I have Gemini, I have Moose, I have Culturally, I have Sandra, who I'm modding for the first time. She always has very good information. Stop with the eyeballs. And Debbie, who's a very sweet woman and very insightful, patient. Please just allow us to moderate, and everybody here is going to have a very good experience, I promise. Okay, so go ahead, Haitian, finish up, and then we'll.
Yeah, so it's just odd that you read it, you heard it, then you read it, you said there's nothing wrong, and now you're thinking something's wrong because it's a close family friend. Jeffrey Epstein was a close family friend. that why a lady got moved? Like, is that all it takes? What is a family friend?